Hello fellow FEH fans. As you know, we were graced with the Thracia banner a while back, and thankfully it was a good one. It was overall a very pleasant surprise and I couldn't be more happy. To celebrate, I wanted to make a theorycrafting video telling which other FE5 characters I'd love to see in a potential new heroes banner. Aside from that, as a bonus at the end I'll also be speculating what could have been a possible Thracia mythic, though we do keep in mind that they are not new here as they were already released in FEH. Also, there will be spoilers, so please keep that in mind and watch at your own risk. So for our potential new heroes banner, I chose characters who I think have a reasonably good chance of making it to FEH, as well as characters who also have unique weapons or skills. If it wasn't very semi-obvious from the thumbnail, I decided to pick Lara, Safy, Dagdar, and Finn, and have Raydrik be a GHP unit. Now I know that Finn is already in FEH, but the Finn we have in FEH is very underwhelming and not a really good representation of him in FE5, so I decided to put him on his build. As for the other characters, I'm pretty confident that some of them, if not all of them, will show up in the next Thracia banner, so I picked them. Starting off with a demote is Lara, a blue dagger unit. I decided to make her a blue dagger since there's a bit of a lack of them and we don't have any demoted ones. Aside from that, she's also a dancer in reference to her promotion. Despite Lara being the demote, I still want her to be decent stat-wise, but she has 165 BST, which is pretty high for a dancer. Not to mention that she also has an insane base speed to highlight her high speed growth. For her build, she comes with a new weapon, Fire Sweep Dagger Plus. This is a weapon that's still yet to be released in FEH, and I doubt we'll ever get it, but I want to include it nonetheless. In this case, Fire Sweep Dagger will work really well with Lara, who has low defense and res. It will also be a great free-to-play option for other dagger units who also have low defenses as well, or no PRFs. For her skills, Lara will come with Swiss Power 3 and Blaze Dance 3. Swiss Power 3 is a 5-star locked skill as of this moment, but the skill is so common it might as well be available on the 4-star pool. Moreover, the additional speed and attack will also help Lara secure more kills. As for Blaze Dance, I wanted to make the skill more accessible, so I decided to go with that for her B skill. In general, Lara is a really good demote unit. She's easy to build up, and even with 0 merges, she's still good. And if you have no interest in building her, she's excellent fodder. Next unit is Safy. Now for some reason, heroes always seem to be stuck at around mid 160 BST, so I said screw it and gave Safy 170. Her attack is fairly high for a healer, and she also has decent speed and is quite tanky for res. The only thing that's mediocre is her defense, but that's to be expected with a 3% defense growth. For her personal weapon, she'll have the Hammer Staff. Hammer used to be pretty much impossible to apply in FEH, so I came up with this new function instead. It'll give special fire to allies within 3 space of her. This will really synergize well with her assist, which we'll get to in a second. There are probably better ways I could have made Hammer Staff, but giving special cooldown to allies isn't something you see in staffs, so I decided to go with that. Now for assist, she has Warp Plus. With Rescue and Return in FEH now, it's only a matter of time before Warp is introduced, so Safy will come with that. It's also quite fitting considering Safy is one of your prime Warp users. It'll basically work like Smite and will push allies 2 spaces away. This will work with Safy's staff because the target ally will still be within 2 spaces of her, and if they initiate combat, the foe will be within 3. For the healing part of Warp, it's basically just Recover Plus, so the ally will be almost if not fully healed. Safy's healing special is Earthwind Bomb Plus. That special is not in the game at the moment, but will definitely be added. Overall, Safy will be a really good support unit, especially in E3 raids with not only being able to rep units over traps, but also being able to give a special fighter. Not to mention that she can also be a res tank and has decent speed, so she won't be doubled as easily. All this makes Safy a solid unit. Next up, Dagdar, a 176 BST infantry axe unit. Now Dagdar is moderately tanky in FE5 and hits somewhat hard, so I tried to focus on that in his stats. His attack is rather good for an infantry axe and he has insanely good defense. His speed and res however are very poor, though the reformer won't really be necessary with his build. Dagdar's preferred weapon is Tigger's Axe, which is basically a combination of the 2 axes he starts with, the hammer and hand axe, as well as the built-in low attack defense if his foe has full HP. Regarding his skills, Dagdar will also have attack defense solo 4 to further boost his key stats. He also comes with his personal skill Accost. The way I implemented it is that as HP is greater than his foes, he can make a guaranteed follow-up attack. This skill will work really well with his high base HP, as only a handful of units have 47 or higher base HP. I also included no follow-up to make it more reliable. Altogether, Dagdar is an excellent axe unit. He will be doubling pretty much always and will be able to tank physical attacks with his high defense. This overall makes him a solid choice for a Guild Force build, which he already comes with as a nod to his 1 movement star. Unfortunately, his extremely low res and speed will hinder him, but other than that he's a fairly good unit. Coming up next is Finn. I've improved his stats to the other Cav Lance units and is now 168 BST. His speed notably has greatly increased, which will help him keep up with the speed meta. As for his other stats, they more or less have improved. His preferred weapon Hero Lance is basically a stronger Brave Lance. In FE5, the Brave Lance allowed Finn to crit more, so include that here with a special cooldown -2. On top of that, if his special is ready, he'll deal 10 true damage per attack. This synergizes really well with his special miracle, because as long as it's ready, he'll gain additional true damage. The extra damage will help him deal with tanky foes as his base attack is relatively low. Not only that, but his weapon will give more survivability since Miracle will have a special cooldown of 3. Fan will come with death blow 4 and low attack speed 3. In addition, he'll come with his own exclusive C-skill leadership to represent one leadership star in FE5. It'll give all allies 10% damage reduction. This might not seem a lot, but considering there's no range limit and that I can stack, I think that's more than enough. This in general not only makes Finn a good player face unit, but also a good support unit as well. Overall, I feel like this is a better representation of him in FE5. It does a great job of portraying his strengths and what made his character good. If Finn were ever to get refined, I hope it'd be something akin to this, or something else that's also powerful, either that or a better alt. And now the GHB unit Raydrik, was a 179 BST armored sword unit. His base stats don't really stand out, but that's to be expected with a GHB unit. That being said, they're also loosely based on his in-game stats, with his HP and defense as his strength, but his speed lacking. Raydrik's present weapon is Lob to a Sword. In FE5, it has foes attack, but I thought that'd be a bit too powerful for a GHB unit, so I limited it to the first attack only. It also prevents foes from making any follow-up attacks on enemy phase and grants him defense res plus 6. His weapon in general makes him a powerful enemy phase unit to have. Raydrik also comes with 40 defense res 2 and armor march 3, 2 skills that aren't available on any 4 stars, but definitely should be as they're available as seals. This makes Raydrik good fodder on top of being a strong free-to-play unit. His only downside is that he's restricted in his movement, but other than that, he'll be a good build project. And with that and his speculation for the new heroes banner, we can now move on to the Mythic Hero. For the Mythic Hero, this might come as a surprise, but I picked Veld, the final boss of Thracia. If I am to be honest, I picked him solely because of a selfish reason. Veld is technically already released as a GHB unit and has a decent weapon, but I always thought that he would be an excellent Mythic Hero, mainly because of his personal tome Stone. I feel that would make him stand out from the other mythics, and he would fit right in with the new gen in terms of power, so I'm going to speculate what his build might look like had he been released as a Mythic Hero. As a Mythic Hero, Veld will be an Ash unit with Res Blessing. He'll have a high BST of 183, and for his weapon type, he'll be a staff unit. Now Stone in FE5 is actually a tome, but given how powerful it is, I decided to make it a staff so Veld would be limited by the restrictions. Here's how I implemented his weapon. It has both Raffle and Dowsing effects included, as well as local gravity range. The Stone staff also comes with a new status effect, Petrify, which restricts the target's movement to 0, basically preventing them from moving at all. This is an extremely powerful and broken effect, so I limit it to once per turn so it can't be abused and only works in player phase. This status effect alone makes Veld a huge help in either its defense and other modes or enemies can be clustered together. Not only that, but if his target is a non-ranged unit, he will save from retaliation on enemy phase. This makes him a huge offensive unit, which is something that isn't really seen with staffs. He also has a bit of mixed bulk, which will help him as he'll be in the front lines more often than not. His skills in addition will also further improve his bulk. Veld comes with attack res unity. It'll help strengthen his res, which is definitely his best asset. On top of that, it'll help with his exclusive passive B skill, Immortal. Immortal Thracia is an unused skill that supposedly prevents the user from ever dying, though in actuality it has a different effect. Veld was originally supposed to have this skill, but it's scrapped, so I thought it would be fine to include in this kit, though instead it would be changed to a damage reduction skill. It'll work just like Dragon Wall and reduce damage if Veld's res is higher than foes. Additionally, it will also allow Veld to be a guaranteed follow-up attack if he initiates combat, so it'll help him in combat against foes to mostly disrupt as well as doubling more efficiently. Altogether, Veld is the powerhouse of a unit and will be a hard carry for any modes. He won't be getting attacked often, and even if he does, he'll take reduced damage, not to mention that he's also supposed to be a support unit as well. His only downfall is that he has staff restrictions, so he can't use offensive specials and some passive skills, but other than that, he's an extremely powerful Mythic Hero that will certainly put the meta to the test. And that's the end of my theorycrafting video. If you got this far, thank you so much for watching as I really appreciate it. Please let me know what you thought of the builds and if you would have done something differently. I hope you enjoyed it and thanks again for watching.